Find out all about the home rental business in Mexico City with Dina Pettenon in this video interview with expats in Mexico. What was it about Mexico City that attracted you?
Well, I guess, yeah. I mean, okay, so what is it about Mexico City? I'm a girl who's traveled all over the world, so it's not like I was like shocked. But I mean, overall, I mean, when you talk about it, it's like it's like the soul of the city, the people, the kindness, the food, the weather, the sort of the manana time mentality. So you have a little bit. People work really hard there. It's a misconception, but there's also this level of tranquility as well. People spend Sundays with their family. They choose to relax, and they know when to balance. Whereas we know the worlds we come from, especially Vancouver, which is quite casual, like quite easygoing. It's becoming a very rat race city as well. So there's things that it's hard to describe about Mexico City. I mean, you're in Mexico City's here, and you're basically in the center of all these opportunities to go to the beach if you need to, an hour or 2 hours away, or drive an hour, or go to some amazing hiking spots, right? And I think the biggest key from someone like me who lives in Vancouver, which people still don't understand, I live in a very conservative, red tape type culture. It's just British Columbia, all of Canada. And so it's very stuffy here and very conservative. We don't even have Uber, right? So Mexico City kind of provides somebody, especially single, a lot more opportunity to have a better life with more affordability as well. I would say that's pretty much it.
So how did you get involved in your business?
Well, how it all started is like how I started. I mean, I did a lot of research about, I mean, can't really just go and work in another country. You have to get your residency and all that kind of stuff. But what happened with me was I did some sort of preliminary work. I was on solvency of because I was working more here. I was trying to figure out how could I do this, and I just learned a lot about how people do real estate down there. And there's a lot of independent real estate agents working out in the city, but also there's also the brokerages, like the offices. But it doesn't work the same way as here. You don't have to be attached to anybody over there. You could just work individually. The problem is then you have everybody doing real estate who has no idea of, the art of real estate, right? So, and the legalities around it and all that kind of stuff. So for me, I started thinking about how am I going to drum up business? So I'm not going to get into too many details of how I did that because I'm not going to let everybody know my little secrets. But I was able to build sort of some clients. And then I eventually, somebody had said to me, you should contact this person, and I'll give you their name, because this is who I work with. You should contact her and have a chat with her. Well, I mean, you can imagine there's this Canadian girl here, she's a real estate agent. What is she, a little bit skeptical at first, but it was a serendipitous moment. She's a real estate agent. It's Sandra Sanchez and Gabby Narvete, who, I think I said her name right, Narvete, who work out of a brokerage called Dos Aguas in Roma Norte. They are just a small little office, two amazing ladies who become my family, who I basically, because you got to remember too, as an independent, you also need to work, how are you going to put your deals through and all that, right? So we got together and I was able to create a lot of business for them. So then we started partnering up. I think it's because the fact that I mean, I don't know what to say. They like working with me. We work well together. It's very important to have that synergy between agents. I bring in a lot of foreigners, expats. But what I do that's separate from Sandra and Gabby of Dos Aguas is something that I'm starting to reevaluate how I'm going to be doing a bit different in September. And I guess my clients, Elizabeth and David, might have mentioned it or not. It's something that I actually love doing, but it's extremely difficult because real estate in its sense is already 100% commission. It's a service-based job, right? So you're never always going to close. You're not always going to get people leave you. There's not a lot of loyalty, but the tenant placency part, I really love, and I've done this many times. I've got great reviews where somebody comes to me from outside of the city or inside of the city, and they're wanting to relocate to Mexico City. And of course, finding rental property is one of the hugest things. So they come to me and I end up helping them beyond rental. I help them with their banking and where to buy their food and how to house their place and all this kind of stuff. Because I know the city actually very well now. It's definitely my home. And So, but the model of my business model on that aspect of it has to change a bit, and I'm starting just figuring that out now. So, if you're figuring out a new way to do it, so I can sort of be a little bit more efficient on it.
What is the name of your company?
So, well, Dos Aguas is the brokerage in Roma Norte.
Okay, so you're one of the people that work with Dos Aguas.
I work with I work very closely with Sandra and
Okay.
Gavin, and I bring in a lot of business. Yeah.
And you sell residential properties as well as find rentals for expats who come to Mexico City.
Well, exactly. My specialty is buying and selling real estate. However, being in Mexico City and learning the market, you realize that, and it's been like, 17, 18, like 3 years, you see the difference actually from the first time I went in 2016. That it's the demand of the rental market that's more there as per se selling and buying. And you'll notice the real estate market currently, it's not a balanced market. It's a buyer's market. So there's lots of inventory to sell. Lots of buyers out there. It's a little tricky to buy in Mexico City. I've got lots of foreigners who come to me who want to buy and invest because everyone's seeing the demand of the city, and how awesome. I mean, I don't think people 5 years ago even knew what Mexico City was. It's just growing. So I would say my primary objective, or what I do with my business and work in Mexico City, is rental. However, I do help people buy properties, and I have listings, but they just don't move. They're not moving right now, right? So I love the rental part of it too, though. I really do. I've built a bit of a process and a niche over it, and I love helping people get to know the city. If 90% of the time everyone's very thankful for that, but 10% of the time you run into people,
Well, you must be extremely well connected with the local expat community then.
Well, I am, yeah. I mean, I would say maybe 95% of people like me. I mean, I don't know if everybody likes me, but I do. Every day I get at least somebody who comes to me asking for help. Now, the problem is I'm just one person and I have to build boundaries for myself. Remember, no one's paying me for that type of job. For tenancy, no one pays, right? I don't get paid from them. I get paid by the owner. So I've had to build some sort of a business model for myself. So it's unfortunate that I can't help everybody. I'd love to. The rental rates of Mexico City have significantly increased over the years, especially after the earthquake. So the biggest challenge I had at the start of 2019 was not the people coming into the city. It's trying to educate them on the reality of the cost to rent in the most popular areas. I have to pay rent too. I don't love that it's gone so high. I mean, I don't know how it's real estate 101. It's supply and demand. I don't make the prices.
Is the inventory primarily apartments?
The inventory primarily are apartments, of course, because the main area, I mean, I can tell you straight up, when people come to me, they're asking, it's changing a little bit, but it's primarily Polanco, Condesa, and Roma, right? It's those three places. Well, in those three areas, there are apartments. Yeah, you can get some older houses in those areas, but it's very hard to find.
How much would a two-bedroom, two-bathroom place rent for?
A nice 2-bedroom, 2-bath, unfurnished in Condesa would be about $1,600 US on average, right? So I have right now some rental properties available listings that are 25,000 pesos for 1 bedroom for fully furnished. Sorry, which is, pardon me, I'm sorry.
It's about $1,300.
Yeah, which is about $1,300 US dollars. It's not the rent is not cheap, and of course there's exceptions to the rules. Of course there's cheaper properties out there. I mean, there's a lot of rhetoric going on out there right now about the pricing of rent. So,
what about the other cost of living? What's the cost to run a household there?
Well, let's say it costs, so generally speaking, I would say about 95% of rental properties that go on the market are rented, the rental rate per month plus the services on top. Sometimes you find the all in, okay? So generally speaking, you're gonna have to pay your rent, your base rent per month, and then you're gonna have to pay for the water, the gas, electricity, and internet. So it's the water and electricity is quite very cheap, especially from where we come from. They are original countries. Or it's the gas and internet that's generally more expensive. So I always give people add on another at least 1,000 pesos per month to cover your costs of services. But it's personal consumption. So people who rent or pay the bills on behalf of the owners.
How about food? How about food? Is food fairly inexpensive there?
My weekly shop at the grocery store definitely is cheaper living in Mexico City than it would be living in Vancouver. To give you exact amounts, I don't know. It always varies, right? Like 700 pesos a week. That's with all my stuff. So what's that in American? Like $40, which is pretty good.
If someone is planning on moving to Mexico City and was looking for an apartment to rent or a place to buy, how would they reach you?
Okay, so I can be reached at, I've got my Facebook page is probably the best place. So there's a couple ways to do it. I have obviously my direct WhatsApp number, which is what I give out a lot, because I'd like people to contact me on that. However, you'll also be able to see my reviews and information on my Dina Pettenon Realtor page on Facebook. And then also, of course, through Dos Aguas as well. It's www.dos, like 2aguas.com.
What are the three things you love most about living in Mexico City?
The three things I love the most about living in Mexico City.
That you have a real passion for.
I would say, I know it's hard to put this in words, but number one is the energy vibe. The energy and vibe. I can't put that in something quantitative. I don't know. Energy and vibe of Mexico City. I would say the climate, of course. The climate would be number two.
What kind of climate is it?
I would say it's about spring weather all year round, right? And then the sun always seems to be shining. And of course they have the rainy seasons, right? But the sun usually shines during the day. And number three, I guess the proximity to all the events and museums and the parties and festivities and it's just all at your fingertips. I mean, even the proximity to get to need a break from the city air and get the ocean air. You're an hour away driving from I think it's about an hour or so to Acapulco, or you could take a bus easily down to a bus to take you to San Miguel, or you could go and fly for an hour to Puerto Escondido. Like the proximity, right? So I think my balance of life in general is better over there. And I also have a huge expat group of friends and family as well. So
there's quite a large expat group in Mexico City.
Absolutely. It's a huge expat community. Yeah.
And a lot of corporate expats.
There's also, yes, and that is sort of the world that I don't necessarily deal with much because they are more in the Polanco, Lomas kind of world. A lot of families have come from different countries and they settled more in the houses way, further out from Condesa and Roma kind of areas.
Right. Dina, thank you so much for the interview today.
No problem. Thanks, Robert.